Happy birthday, dear Sarah. Happy birthday to you. Your friends and family are with you. That cake is just perfect. And here come the gifts. Your boyfriend hands you a beautifully wrapped box with a ribbon. Please be a makeup kit. You unwrap it in a second and find some little multicolored box there. Oh wait, it's a Rubik's Cube. And it looks so weird. You're really mad at your boyfriend. It could have been a scarf, some jewelry, maybe a box of your favorite chocolates. But a Rubik's Cube? Really? Your sweetheart doesn't notice your disappointment and explains your cube is the 1x1 kind. The fun part about it is, it's always in the solved state. It seems pretty plain and straightforward, but some cubers call it the hardest one to solve. When all the guests leave, you go through your gifts again. You've hidden the cube out of your sight, but it falls on the floor. You decide it's a sign to give it a chance and do some more research on your gift. You find out you can make such a cubie from a corner cubie of a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, or you can buy it ready-made. Some cuber forums say it's the first step to solving it. The second one is bringing it home, and there you go. You just solved the 1x1 cube. But can it really be that simple? The 1x1 or 1x1x1 Rubik's Cube was invented in the late 1800s, before the original Rubik's Cube. Some people even say the inventor of the more famous 3x3 kind just stole the idea from it, but he denies it. The puzzle has 6 uniform faces of different colors and a mechanism that was unique for its time. You can't solve it by making turns. You have to rotate the entire thing to bring it into the solved state. You carefully inspect the cube. Can you even scramble it? Looks like it's impossible. And although it does look like it's always in a solved state, does it really mean you can't solve it? Many cubers claim you can. The current unofficial world record for it is 8 minutes 59 seconds. The fastest solve of the 3x3 Rubik's Cube is currently 3.47 seconds. Another proof that the 1x1 isn't so easy after all. You decide to find an algorithm for it and test it on your cube. Here's the 1x1 cube's lingo. Now, you need to practice rotating the cube. You have to let go of it with one hand and turn it around with the wrist of the other hand. It's not easy when you're a beginner, but you'll get there. Once you've rotated it, you've got to place the free hand back on it and re-grip it with the other hand. Well, you've practiced enough and feel like you're ready for the algorithm. Here's how it goes. Bring the top face to the back. Bring the face on the right to the front. Do it twice. Move the front face down to the left. Move the front face down to the right. You're doing great, keep going. Bring the top face to the back. It'll rotate the whole thing. Bring the face on the right to the front. Move the face on the left to the front. Perfect. Now you have to rotate the face on the right to the front 3 times. Rotate the entire puzzle by bringing the top face to the back. Bring the front face down to the right. Bring the face on the right to the front. Rotate the entire puzzle by bringing the top face to the back. Move the face on the left to the front. Almost there. Rotate the front face down to the right. Move the front face down to the left. Well, you decide you're a pro now, and find another algorithm that requires more creativity from you. The first step is to detach all stickers off your 1x1 Rubik's Cube. The second step is to color the empty faces with any paint you like. The web recommends opting for oil-based paints, but remember, they take a while to dry. The third step is to post the result to your social media. Alright, that was funny, but you've had enough fun today. Time to go to bed. You instantly fall asleep and find yourself in Rubik's Cube land. And you can only get out of it if you solve all the different cubes that live there. The first cube you meet on your way is the Sudoku cube. It's a super challenging combination of 2 puzzles in one. It has 6 faces of a cube and 9 numbers on each face. So that's a total of 54 numbers with 6 sets of numbers from 1 to 9. Your goal is to get each face of the cube to have all the numbers from 1 to 9 in any order. What works for one Sudoku might not work for another. You can't solve it yourself, so you ask for some hints. The Sudoku explains the secret is to master both the Rubik's Cube techniques and solving Sudoku. It says it also helps if you draw a 2D map of all the numbers on each face on paper. This way, you can easily figure out the whole arrangement of numbers. You can't move the central numbers on each 3x3 face. You have to twist and turn the cube layers to work out the positions of the corner face numbers. The center face numbers will help you. You gotta focus on putting together the numbers on one face. The rest will fall into place easily. A few hundred twists and turns later, you manage to get the order right. The Sudoku lets you step further. Your next stop is Pentamix. This monster is probably the world's hardest Rubik's Cube to solve. It consists of 975 individual parts and has more than 1,200 stickers on it. It took 75 hours to build and will probably take you much longer to solve. You decide to run away from it. But you bump into yourself. Oh, that's a mirror cube in all its glory. It doesn't have any colored stickers and consists of pieces of different shapes and sizes. You can solve it the same way as a regular 3x3 cube. So you have to remember the basics you learned a long time ago. You start solving them, and 2 hours later, the cube gets bored of you and lets you pass to the next one. Now this one is something different. The Master Morphix is triangle-shaped and can be one color or 4 colors. It has 4 triangle-shaped faces with one centerpiece each. You can rotate centerpieces 180 degrees. You're really confused with this one, but the cube explains it could have been worse. The higher ordered the Master Morphix is, the more difficult it is to solve. The next puzzle looks like a regular 3x3 cube, but can it really be that easy? Well, you grab it and start solving it. Yikes! What just happened? It suddenly transformed into a star shape. This cube has foldable sides and many hidden layers. You don't have to strain your brain or use any algorithms to solve this one. You can just get creative and transform it into various geometric figures. Wow, what a beautiful color! It can be a star, 2 stars, a rectangle, or 2 rectangles. You can put the parts together or separate them. You get so into the process, you forget about everything. And then suddenly, you hear some familiar tune. It's your alarm. You managed to escape from Rubik's Cube land, but now you kind of miss it. You go online and type in the most unusual Rubik's Cubes. 10 minutes later, you receive confirmation for your order of 11 new puzzles. What started as a bad birthday gift grew into your new favorite hobby. Well, how about that?
There are more than 43 quintillion, that's 43 billion ways of solving a Rubik's Cube. The current human world record is 3.47 seconds, and a robot can do it in half a second. If you want to get that good, here's a great starting point. Technically, you can solve any Rubik's Cube in 20 moves or less. For starters, let's see what a 3x3 cube consists of. It has 3 main sections: center, edge, and corner. Center cubes are located in the center of each side and are of one visible color. There are 6 of them in total, and they don't move. That's why the color of the center cube represents each side of the whole thing. An edge piece on a Rubik's Cube is where 2 visible colors meet, like this one here. There are 12 of them in total. Corner pieces are located in the corner of each of the cube. There are 8 of them. They have 3 visible colors. A standard Rubik's Cube has 3 layers consisting of 9 blocks. It's the part of the cube that you turn. It also has 6 sides or faces. You'll see the initials for them in every algorithm. F is for front, B is for back, L means left, R means right, U is up, and D is down. A Rubik's Cube algorithm is a series of rotations that shifts blocks into the right positions to solve it gradually. When you master one or more algorithms, you'll be able to solve a 3x3 cube in under 5 seconds. Cubers write down all moves in letters that stand for 190-degree cube rotation. R, for example, means clockwise rotation on the right face. Clockwise rotations are marked with a prime symbol. The number next to the letter stands for how many times you need to rotate the cube. Before you start solving the cube using an algorithm, practice the rotations. Feeling the cube and learning to rotate it quickly will help you improve your solving time. Professional cubers use finger tricks. It means doing a rotation with a single finger instead of the whole hand. The easiest one is rotating the up face clockwise and counterclockwise your right or left index finger. Give it a go now. Try turning the top face clockwise and counterclockwise. There you go. Now try moving the bottom layer with your ring fingers. Perfect. And now try combining these moves with turning right and left sides. You'll get there, it just takes practice. Okay, now you're ready for your first algorithm. It consists of 7 steps. Number 1, build a white cross on the bottom. Number 2, solve the white corners. Number 3, solve the middle layer. Number 4, build a yellow cross. Number 5, swap yellow edges in the top layer. Number 6, get the yellow corners in the right position. Number 7, solve the final layer corners. Step 1, build a white cross on the bottom. Hold the cube with the white face up. In this case, the white face is the one that has a white center. There's no strict algorithm for this step, so try building the white cross following your intuition. First, you should get something looking like a daisy. When you're done with it, align the right colors of the layers with the color of the center and rotate this layer 180 degrees. Do the same thing with the remaining whites. And this is how you get a white cross at the bottom. Step 2. Solve the white corners. The goal of this step is to have 3 cubes of the same color in the top layer and 1 cube in the center of the middle layer of the left, right, front, and back faces. The white side of the cube will be solved. You'll need to use the main right-hand algorithm for this step. Twice. Rotate only the top layer of the cube to find a corner that's the same color as the centers of the other sides. First, the right face goes clockwise. Then, shift the up face clockwise. The right face goes counterclockwise. Finish the algorithm by rotating the up face counterclockwise. In case the corner is placed correctly in the bottom layer but not oriented correctly, repeat the algorithm until the corner is in the right place. Do the same thing with the rest of the corners. Step 3. Solve the middle layer. At this stage, you'll need to solve the rest of the middle layer so that the outer blocks are the same color as the center. Rotate the cube to move the completed white face to the bottom. No worries, you can't mess it up. Everything will fall back into position if you follow the algorithms. There are 2 possible scenarios for this layer. If you need the center top piece to move to the second layer left, here's an algorithm for that. Let's go through it. Rotate the up face counterclockwise. The left face goes counterclockwise. Rotate the up face clockwise. Move the left face clockwise. The up face goes clockwise. The front face goes clockwise. The up face goes counterclockwise, and the front face goes counterclockwise. If you need the center top piece to go to the second layer right, use a different algorithm. So for this one, start with rotating the up face clockwise, then shift the right face clockwise. The up face goes counterclockwise. Rotate the right face counterclockwise and the up face counterclockwise. The front face goes counterclockwise and the up face goes clockwise. Finish this step with shifting the front face clockwise. Repeat that with all the sides, and you're done. Step 4. Build a yellow cross. The goal of this step is the same as with the white cross, but there are more things to think about here. Here's the algorithm for this step. Rotate the front face clockwise. The right face goes clockwise. Now, rotate the up face clockwise and the right face counterclockwise. The up face goes counterclockwise. Finally, rotate the front face counterclockwise. At this point, you might see one of the 3 different patterns on your cube. Depending on which one it is, you should run the algorithm for this step a certain number of times. If you have a single yellow dot on your cube, perform the algorithm 3 times. If it's an L shape, start with rotating the cube so that the legs of the L shape encase the edge pieces in the top left. run the algorithm twice. If you have a line, rotate the cube until the line is horizontal. Then, go through the algorithm just once. Step 5. Swap yellow edges in the top layer. Now you need to arrange the edges of the yellow cross so that the second color coincides with the color of that side. Find one edge that's already in place. Rotate the top layer of the cube to align the edge with the corresponding color. It's important that only one edge is matching. Keep it in front of you and use the algorithm until the remaining edges get in the right positions. Let's give it a go. Start by rotating the right face clockwise. Next, turn the up face clockwise and the right face counterclockwise. Now rotate the up face clockwise. The right face goes clockwise as well. Now, the up face goes counterclockwise 2 times. Turn the right face counterclockwise to finish the algorithm. Step 6. Get the yellow corners in the right position. At this stage, the task is to get the remaining yellow corners where they belong. You only need to move them in place. You're not solving them just yet. Find the corner that's already in place. In this case, it's even rotated correctly. But that's not important. And use this algorithm until the corners are in their places. Okay, let's do it. Turn the up face clockwise. The right face goes clockwise as well. Rotate the up face counterclockwise and the left face counterclockwise. The up face goes clockwise and the right face counterclockwise. Now, turn the up face counterclockwise and the left face clockwise. Keep going until you make it. Step 7. Solve the final layer corners. You're almost done. All you have to do is solve the corners. Rotate the cube so that the yellow side is facing you. You'll work with the upper right corner. Let's solve it corner by corner using this algorithm. Turn the up face clockwise and the right face counterclockwise. Rotate the up face counterclockwise. The right face goes clockwise. Once you're done with one corner, move to the next one by rotating the side that's facing you. Keep using the same algorithm. Rotate the front layer so that all colors of the cube match. Congrats! You now know how to solve a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. If you want to do it faster, get a high-quality cube. Probably a speed one. Learn the basic algorithms by heart and give it as much time and practice as you can. Then, the moves will come automatically. And you'll be able to solve the cube in under 5 seconds, no problem. What's your record on solving Rubik's Cube? Do you know the world record to solve Rubik's Cube? Just 3.47 seconds. A Chinese speed cuber, Yu Shengdu, set the record in 2018 on the World Cube Association competition. But there are 2 people who beat that record unofficially. There are recordings of a 14-year-old Filipino speed cuber who solved it in 2.78 seconds and a 12-year-old Chinese boy who managed to finish in 2.68 seconds. I bet you don't know who invented the Rubik's Cube. It hasn't been around for too long. Your grandparents didn't have it growing up. A Hungarian sculptor, Erno Rubik, invented the cube in 1974. He is a designer and he's always liked 3-dimensional objects. At the age of 29, while just playing around with blocks and strings in his bedroom, Mr. Rubik created the cube's structure. He got an idea to make the cube, used 26 different cubes, marked each side of it with stickers, and started to play around, rearranging them. The colors got mixed, which looked great and colorful, but then he wanted it back in order with each side being one color. But bringing it back turned out to be a real catch. That's when Mr. Rubik realized he had just invented a puzzle. What's funny is that it took Mr. Rubik a whole month to find a solution to his puzzle. His solution was based on aligning the 8 corner cubies first. And then he applied for the patent. The first Rubik's Cubes were produced in late 1977. Do you know how the Rubik's Cube was originally called? Magic Cube. But later the name was changed to patent it in other countries. How many possible arrangements does the standard 3x3 cube have? 43 quintillion. Here's the exact number. To put it into perspective, if you turn it once a second, you will need 1.4 trillion years to go through all possible arrangements. It's 100 times more than exist in the universe. It may sound surprising, but the Rubik's Cube wasn't an immediate success. No one was interested in Rubik's Cubes because they were just stored in boxes on fairs, among other toys. But one seller saw their potential, and he decided to bet on the puzzle and promote it. The team started to present the cubes, showing how to solve it, and, soon enough, the cube became a raging success. Now the Rubik's Cube is one of the best-selling toys in history, together with Hot Wheels, Barbies, Cabbage Patch Dolls, and Legos. Over the decades, over 450 million cubes were sold worldwide. The first Rubik's Cube world record was set in 1982 by a student who solved it in 22.95 seconds. I have to admit that back in the day, this speed was unachievable because the original cube was way harder to rotate, which was significantly decreasing the speed. The modern models are way more upgraded. They have better rotation mechanisms and magnets that allow the cubies to snap into position. This way, a speed cuber doesn't have to rotate all the way and can perform up to 12 turns in just 1 second. What do you think? How fast can a robot solve it? In 2018, a couple of MIT students built a Rubik's Cube solving robot. It needed just 0.38 seconds. It has a considerable advantage in speed compared to humans. It can make 55 turns in a second, which is 5 times faster than a person. Another thing is that the machine solves the cube very accurately, every time placing the cubies precisely. Speed cubers use the technique when they cut corners to save time. It means that they don't finish the turn before starting the next one, since the next one will put the previous one into place anyway. If humans could reach the machine's speed, the fact of cutting corners due to limited precision will only make the cube break apart. But 3 seconds is still quite impressive. I can only do it for an hour, and if I have the cheat sheet on how to solve it. Did you know who else is obsessed with the cube except teenagers? Mathematicians have been mesmerized by it for decades now. They've been busy trying to find the most efficient algorithm to solve the cube. There are many techniques. The original solution of Mr. Rubik himself is to first align the 8 corners. The most common one is to complete the top layer first. This one requires up to 120 twists to solve the puzzle. How many moves does the most efficient technique require to solve the cube? Mathematicians have calculated that that would be 22 twists. Funnily enough, the technique hasn't been discovered yet. So maybe you could be the one to come up with it. And considering that it's possible to make 12 moves in a second, you would then solve the cube in under 2 seconds and beat the new world record. But yeah, the fastest technique yet discovered requires 52 twists. The fun thing about it is that until the very end, the cube seems to be all messed up and then suddenly, everything falls into place with just a couple of last twists. The technique was discovered by British mathematician Morwen B. Thistle, who came up with it using a computer and the rules of a group theory. Did you know who wrote one of the best books for beginners to learn on how to solve the Rubik's Cube? It was written by a teenage boy. The book is called You Can Do the Cube. In 1981, a 13-year-old schoolboy came up with a solution for the cube and created a cheat sheet for his friends, which was very simple and could be understood by novices. One of the kids showed it to his father, who worked for a publishing company. The father liked it so much that the boy turned it into a published book. It became a bestseller. Have you heard of a Rubik's snake? After the cube, Rubik kept producing toys. Unfortunately, nothing could beat the success of the cube. But this snake is also quite popular, and you can twist it around to produce different shapes. Did you know that you can participate in speed cubing championships? The first one was organized by the Guinness Book of Records and was held in 1981 in Munich, Germany. The next year, it was already a world championship held in Budapest. After the 1982 World Championship, the next one took place in 2003 in Toronto. Afterwards, there was a World Championship every 2 years. Traditionally, each participant solved the cube 5 times, and the average on the middle 3 performances is counted as the final time and determines the winner. So, the record holder might not be the winner of the competition, but, of course, the record goes into history. I bet you didn't know that there's also other variations of solving events. One of them is blindfolded solving. The contestant first looks at the cube to determine the state of the cube and think of the strategy. Then they get blindfolded and solve it. The time runs all the time, examining the cube before getting blindfolded and after it until the person solves the cube. The record is 14.61 seconds. It was set on March 23, 2022 in Orlando. Another variation is cube solving only using one hand. The record here is 6.83 seconds. The Rubik's Cube also has many variations. The standard one is 3 by 3 by 3. There is also a 4 by 4 by 4 cube called Rubik's Revenge. It was invented in 1981, 7 years after the original one. The record of solving this one is 17.42 seconds. The 5 by 5 by 5 cube is called the Professor's Cube, and the record is 33.02 seconds. The 6 by 6 by 6 cube is called V-Cube 6 with a record of 1 minute and 9 seconds. The 7 by 7 by 7 is called a V-Cube 7 with a record of 1 minute and 40 seconds. The record of all these variations are helped by one person, an American speedcuber, Max Park. There's also a 2 by 2 by 2 cube, a pocket cube. The record is held by a Polish speedcuber and stands at 0.49 seconds. I was surprised, but turns out to make the cube rotate faster, the contestants lubricate it with oil. It is allowed to do it in the championships too, and still, people find even more crazy ways to solve the cube. In 2003, Dan Knights solved the cube in 40 seconds during a free fall before opening the parachute.